The elevator doors slid open to a sea of red and gold. Music, faint but insistent, echoed down the hall. Laughter spilled from the company lounge. My wife's company, though no one in the room would know I owned it more than she did. Tonight was meant to be different. Tonight I would reveal everything. The anonymous investor with 80%. The silent hand behind every deal, every expansion. And then us, husband and wife, partners in every sense. But then I heard her. I hadn't stepped fully inside. My coat still hung heavy on my shoulders. My hand gripped the small velvet box meant for her desk. A gesture, a symbol of merging worlds. And yet, her voice cut through the noise. He's so naive. He has no idea what's really going on. Naive. The word rang, sharp, deliberate, rehearsed. I moved closer, careful. A corner office door half open, light bleeding out like a confession. My pulse slowed, not quickened, an old reflex. That's when I saw them. Her hands on his tie, his fingers pressing into her waist. Their mouths caught in a rhythm I had not tasted in months. Behind them, the company's bed, an executive indulgence for late nights. Sheets disheveled. A betrayal performed with corporate efficiency. I did not enter. I did not speak. I simply watched long enough to know. The velvet box in my hand felt heavier, almost obscene. And then I smiled. Not out of joy, out of clarity. I left the office quietly, no one noticing. Her laughter carried back into the party minutes later, perfectly rehearsed, perfectly polished. On the surface, nothing had changed. She floated across the room, champagne glass in hand, her eyes catching mine once or twice with that professional shine. But I had changed. Her betrayal wasn't fire, it was ice. It crept slowly, numbing me. Each smile she gave me across the room froze into something jagged. I replayed her words again. Naive. As though my silence, my restraint, my anonymity were weakness. The crowd cheered as she made her toast. My wife, the company's rising star. They adored her. They trusted her. They had no idea who was funding their paychecks, who was feeding their growth. And I, her husband, was invisible here, by her design. At first, my mind fought the truth. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it wasn't what it seemed. I almost wanted to believe that. But denial cracked the moment I remembered the detail. The way his shirt had been unbuttoned too far, her lipstick smeared not by carelessness, but urgency. No, it was real. What stung wasn't just the act, it was the narrative. She had crafted me into a character for her coworkers, the oblivious man, too trusting to notice her duplicity. But she was wrong. I noticed everything. And so I began to plan. The weeks that followed were meticulous. I played my part, the supportive husband, the polite stranger in the backdrop of her corporate stage. Meanwhile, I traced her steps. Emails forwarded to a private account. Hotel reservations under company expenses. Subtle, but not. Subtle enough. She had grown reckless, thinking me blind. I did not confront, not yet. Confrontation is emotion. Strategy is patience. I called in quiet favors from the firm's auditors. Numbers disguised as inquiries. Paperwork disguised as oversight. Every transfer, every unauthorized expense lined up like coordinates on a map. Phone records confirmed what I already knew. Midnight calls, texts coded with inside jokes. DNA wasn't necessary. Thankfully, no children tethered us together. This betrayal was pure, undiluted greed mixed with lust. She still came home every night, still kissed me with lips that belonged to someone else hours earlier. I received those gestures as one receives counterfeit bills, with quiet acknowledgement of their worthlessness. Her arrogance protected me. She believed I was what she said, naive. She didn't notice the growing silence in me, the sharpened edge of my gaze. The company's Christmas gala had been my original stage for revelation. Now it would serve another purpose. The right time was coming. The final piece fell into place on a rainy Thursday. A document, simple and undeniable. Her signature authorizing a transfer to his personal account. Money siphoned quietly under consulting fees. I stared at the paper for a long while. Not with rage, with certainty. That night I sat across from her at dinner. The clatter of silverware, the low hum of the heater. "I had the auditor send me something," I said, sliding the folder across the table. My tone was flat, almost casual. She blinked, smiled too quickly. "What's this?" She opened it, read, and froze. Her eyes darted to mine, searching for emotion. There was none, only stillness. This isn't what it looks like," she stammered. But I had already given her rope, and she had already hung herself. I said nothing else. Silence was more suffocating than words. At the company's quarterly meeting, the boardroom was crowded. Executives, managers, investors, all eyes forward. I rarely attended, but today I took my seat at the head of the table. Whispers spread like wildfire. My wife entered late, her confidence slightly cracked but still intact. Until I spoke. "I suppose introductions are overdue," I began. "My name is irrelevant. What matters is this." I laid down the official document declaring my 80% ownership. The room hushed. "I am the majority shareholder of this company." Gasps. Confusion, then silence. Her face drained of color. "And as of this morning," I continued, sliding the second folder, the one with her forged transfers, "there are new matters to address." The board members leaned in. Shock rippled through the room. I didn't look at her when I spoke the final words. Breach of trust cannot lead a company. Effective immediately, she's relieved of all duties. Her voice broke across the table. "You can't! Please, let me explain!" But I wasn't listening. I had already won. Later, I watched her pack her office. Not through the doorway, through the glass reflection on the opposite building. She looked small for the first time. Coworkers avoided her eyes. The man she clung to had already disappeared. Predictable. She caught sight of me in the reflection once, as though she hoped I'd intervene. I didn't move. Naive. That's what she'd called me. But the truth was simpler. I had never been naive. I had been silent. Now silence was all I offered her. When she left the building for the last time, she did not look back. Neither did I. Some truths do not require witnesses. They only require endings. And hers had finally arrived.